What's going on? Matt Malatesta here with one of the legends of baseball in the state of Texas, Coach Dale Westmoreland. Klein from Magnolia. Coach, congrats on being named one of our Hall of Fame coaches, the first ever class. Coach, just kind of walk us through the career and just talk about, some of your more memorable moments.
I started out and as a head coach right out of college, and at St. Augustine High School, and and that was memorable because you learn a lot when you're coaching. You think because you played the game, and I coached a year where I played, as a kind of a graduate assistant, and you think you know so much, and then you find out when the game's really on, and you don't know near as much as you thought you did. But I remember those, and I think the highlights of, it's difficult because the highlights are the kids, and the relationships that you built up over the years, and I still have contact with those that I coached in the early '70s, and so that's a real highlight. And then, but the biggest highlights as far as just accomplishing something was going to the state tournament, because everybody as a head coach, you go to those state tournaments, at Dish Falk, and and you're watching other teams, and boy, there's a lot of great coaches that never had the opportunity to go to the state tournament, and that first year in '91 was real special because you finally can say, boy, that I went to a state tournament, and then in '96 we did it again, and that was a highlight. But I think those highlights are really etched in my mind.
So, Coach, 700 wins? That's an amazing feat.
Well, I started young, and
right,
being a head coach, and I never thought about wins or anything like that. I just wanted to go out every day and boy, to be the best that we could be. And I remember working out until dark and more, just trying to be a good team, and represent our school and things. And then as the years have mounted, then you just would be celebrated a little bit by your high school that 600, and then 700, and those meant a lot to you. But it still goes back to, boy, all those players that, man, you just love and have such a great relationship with, and that's what means it most to you. Somebody asked me, boy, why don't you stay another year and maybe see if you can get 800? And I said, heck, I don't care. Nobody really cares what am I going to do? Go around telling everybody, so I didn't really care, for that amount of wins. It's all about the journey, and being on those buses after a win, and, and accomplishing things. That's what was so exciting, for me, and I still enjoy, the fact that we accomplished a great deal and all that. I'm not trying to discount that, but as far as that, I never really worried too much about the wins other than that given year. I wanted a lot of them in the year.
So finally, talk about building a program. What were some of the pillars that you kind of leaned on building your programs?
I just wanted the kids to know it was as important to them as it was to me, and I think anytime that you take over a program and things, and I took over some programs that weren't winning and everything, but it's the culture, but it's first got to come, from you, to where they can look at you and say, boy, it's important to him, and it's going to be important to us. And then you go about, working every day, everything that you can think of as far as the situations and things. You got to work them all, and it's not about, when I was in high school, a lot of teams, whoever drew the smallest straw had to coach baseball, and you go out and take a couple cuts and then you to the house, But you had to have a program that they worked hard and they were dedicated to winning, just like you were. And if you could ever get that feeling, like there were times when I know in '91 we graduated everybody but one kid, but we came back and man had a great year simply because they were bought in and they weren't going to let any kind of tradition go to waste. We were going to go and do the best we could, and we had a great year when we ended up having to replace everybody. But that's a part of that culture that there's demands of you, and we're all going to give it to us because a coach can't just give everyone that kind of feeling. You got to build it in them, and then a lot of it is how you feel. If I shortcut things and we don't work on certain things and situations and live stuff and all that, then they sense that. Like, well, he just kind of going through the motions, and I never went through the motions.